is the OnePlus Nord N10 5G from MetroPie T-Mobile, and today we're going to be doing the benchmark part 2. So to see how these next two benchmarks perform on the device. So the name of the next benchmark is going to be called 3D Mark. Okay guys, as you can see here, it just finished, and the benchmark that we did was called the Wildlife. So the score that we got here was 830. So now let's go to our next benchmark and final for this video. guys, as you can see here, it just finished. So now let's take a look at the scores. So for the high level test for the Aztec One's OpenGL high tier, we got a score of 564.6 frames at 8.8 frames per second. For the Aztec One's OpenGL normal tier, we got a score of 886.4 frames at 14 frames per second. For the Aztec One's Vulcan high tier, we got a score of 566.0 frames at 8.8 frames per second. For the Aztec One's Vulcan normal tier, we got a score of 890.4 frames at 14 frames per second. For the car chase, we got a score of 763.6 frames at 13 frames per second. For the Manhattan 3.1, we got a score of 1,444 frames at 23 frames per second. For the Manhattan, we got a score of 1,976 frames at 32 frames per second. For the T-Rex, we got a score of 3,235 frames at 58 frames per second. So now for the low level test, for the tessellation, we got a score of 725.2 frames at 24 frames per second. For the Allo 2, we got a score of 990.9 frames at 33 frames per second. For the Driver Overhead 2, we got a score of 1,791 frames at 60 frames per second. For the Texturing, we got a score of 6,289. Okay guys, so that's gonna be all for this video. So thank you very much for watching my video. If you like my video, please click the like button. You can subscribe to my channel so you can get more content. If you have any question, please leave it down below. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye.